All right, guys, so welcome back to another 90 Day Fiance recap chat. This time we are talking 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days, the tell all. It is the last part, guys. So, for those that don't know, 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples. One person's from the US, the other from another country. We follow them with their, everyday relationship situations, the long distances, cultural barriers, language boundaries, and the whole process of trying to get married in another country, all the legal ramifications, getting that 90-day visa, going through that visa process. It is 90 Day Fiance. Before the 90 days is the spinoff, and we are closing out this particular season with the tell all. Now, it starts out recapping everything that happened with all of the couples. I'm not going to recap, but you guys can always go back and check out the other tell-all episodes if you want to kind of recap and detail everything. But that's kind of what they did, like a short little recap of all the couples. But we're leaving off with Faith and Lauren basically have broken up. And for some reason, Faith keeps saying, Lauren, I know you're good. But they broke up actually on the tell-all, and the friend Esther kind of pushed it along, saying basically just be straight up, because Faith was just, unsure, confused, going around the bush, but crying. I don't know. But in the end, Faith was like, I'm done. No, we're not going to stay together. That wasn't the exact phrasing, but basically, no, they're not going to stay together. So, Lawrence had kind of good about it. It's like, well, it's okay if that's how you feel, that you told your truth and that's how you feel about it. Everything's going to be okay if that's what you want. So they ended like that. Joey says, yeah, it's going to be okay. Now you can find somebody. You're a good person. Now you can let go of him and find somebody, an actual normal boyfriend. He kind of said it like that. I thought that was funny. Because if you've been watching, of course, Lauren is put Faith through the ringer. So I believe Adnan last time said, "Why are you crying for this person that kind of put you through a lot? And are they really worth it?" But all intents and purposes, it appears that they are done. And Faith thanks Esther, as well as Sean, the hostess, thanks Esther, and Faith's like, thanks Esther as well. But like, okay, thanks Esther for ending their relationship and kind of pushing this through. Some people may feel that Esther, who is Lauren's ex, may still have a thing for him. I don't know. I feel like she's still there for him as a close friend, but maybe she does have feelings for him. I don't know. It's just like, because he is a part of the LGBTQ lifestyle. Sorry, Esther, I don't think you have a chance since you are a cisgender woman. But anyway, Sean's like, let's take a break. Stretch your legs, we'll get you something to eat. So they're on the break, and Lauren's kind of tearing up. He's kind of torn up about the situation. Vanya's nearby, and she kind of sympathizes with him and says, I'm surprised that he is showing such compassion, such care. It shows me that he's just like everybody else, because some of the things he's done on this season with Faith, going up there with not much money, having gonorrhea, seeing other people while they're supposedly exclusive. Joey did that as well, but the gonorrhea part was really what got us. And then what else did he do? He also was like, hey, if so I can be a citizen of your country, can I marry your mom, since she is a cisgender woman and they don't believe in same-sex marriages. They don't have it set up there where it's legal. So he's like, hey, maybe I can marry your mom instead and we can be together. So it was like a lot of crazy things. It's a so-called flirtation at the drag club. It was just multiple things at the end of the day that Faith is better off. And that's what I said last time. All right, now we're going to I do want to praise Sean for her orange dress. I love the orange dress. Kudos to you, Sean. I know some people were saying you weren't doing very well at hosting. I don't know if you kind of tried to make up for it at this point, but let's see as we go further with Brian and Ingrid. Basically, we find out that Brian had went right back on the rebound right after he broke up with Ingrid in her country. Went right back on the app, met a young lady. They showed these never before seen clips, and the young lady was like, his chair makes her more curious about him. She's not put off by his chair, and he was like, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but maybe this is something to this, because this has been better. This hour with this person has been better than with Ingrid the whole time that I was here for a few weeks. So Sean question was like, so did you rebound that same night? He said, yeah, I could have, the afternoon breakup, the evening, meet somebody new. Vanya jumps in and says, well, I didn't do so as fast as you, but I kind of did the same thing when Bojo was like not showing up for her, which is true, but it's a different vibe with Brian, because it was like literally 5 minutes later, and he spent 2 or 3 days with this young lady, and they were intimate with each other. So I don't know if he was just trying to reboost himself, which I don't think is a good idea to go from one person to another person so quickly, just to kind of boost your ego and feel better about yourself as a man. Because now he's with a new woman. So when he was with somebody new, I was like, oh, he must still be with this woman. No, they just kind of had a 2 or 3 day thing, slept together, who knows how many times. Now he's on to another woman. Ingrid's like, you know what? I really don't care if he compares me to this 2 or 3 day lady at this point. Whatever he wants, congratulations for him. And I was like, okay, congratulations. But yeah, he didn't even stay with that woman. He went off to the next one. Now he's with another woman he's been with for 8 months. I think her name is Nathy. And so they kind of introduced Ingrid to Nathy through the video chats. And Sean's like, this is Ingrid, this is Nathy, this is Ingrid, one of the women that Brian has seen in the past, one of his exes, and now says one of many. And Brian puts on a face and like kind of shakes his head a little bit like, hey, don't go there, right? So Sean stirs the pot a little bit, because I think she was like, Ingrid, do you have any advice for Nathy when it comes to Brian? And I think she said he gets angry and he doesn't accept help because he's in the chair and he can be angry at times. And then Natty's like, you're right. Yeah, he actually can get angry sometimes. And, Brian's trying to shush her. And then he's like, well, the way that she dresses at times, she's a little bit too exposed, too sexy. He's like, I'm being like Adnan on this area, because she's overexposed. And then she was doing some type of contest where she took a picture where she was on some guy's back, and he's like, my girlfriend is not going to do that. So we had an issue with that. But Nathy continues to say, Brian is nice, but they fight a lot. And he lies about other women, and he supposedly friends are with his client, but she finds out it's not a client. And he's saying basically that's not true. And then they're like, have you ever lied to Nathy at all? He's like, well, maybe. I can't say I never lied to her. Except when it comes to women, no, he hasn't lied to her. How was their intimacy? How does she feel about the situation compared to Ingrid, who was kind of nervous and put off? She said it was different. He was a gentleman. He took his time with her. He was more patient. And Ingrid kind of chimes in and said, well, he treated me differently. I feel like he was trying to rush me or kind of push me into things. So kind of like, what do you expect? If you treat someone differently, they're going to react differently. So that's probably why we couldn't work it out, because basically the treatment that you gave me was not the same treatment you're giving this new woman. Then he starts kind of talking about living his life to the fullest, because they're saying like, you went from one person to the other so quickly. Do you basically think you need to take time and breaks or whatnot? He's like, no, I'm gonna live my life to the fullest, because I could have a blood clot because of my condition of being in this chair. I've had friends on my I think it's called rugby team. It's like a basketball, I think, team with people that are in wheelchairs. And he said were younger than me and they passed away. So I'm gonna live my life to the fullest. And Niles kind of agrees with him as far as you should live your life to the fullest, because you never know what's going to happen. You're in that chair, you can't control it, you can't stop it. And he talked about his autism. He can't stop that either. He can't control that either. So they kind of bonded a bit on that. But he says at the end of the day that he is not a liar. I don't know. He showed a lot of lying tendencies with Ingrid, as far as a lot of it was him not giving all the information as far as how many times he's been married and all of this. And the young lady's like, this might be I think this was later on in the show, but he's like, this might be his 5th wife. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not sure what Natty sees in him. Like, honestly, she said she wants a real relationship, so she doesn't want to be with someone that's not going to be honest and upright and respectful to her, which is great. But honestly, I feel like Nancy could be doing some other things. I don't know. I just have a vibe that I don't see why she's waiting for him for 8 months. Like, what did he do to her to make her so loyal? And she's a kind of scantily clad young lady, kind of probably out there as far as what would you call it, extrovert and all of that. So I don't know if her sights are only on our friend Brian here, because Brian just kind of gets on my nerves. I'm sorry. I'm just like, he's kind of a slimy guy. And even guys that, because he's in a wheelchair, I think I don't know, people may have other thoughts of him and have sympathy for him and see him in a different way. But no, he's just that slimy guy, just like any other guy. I'm sorry, I just have bad vibes with him, and I don't like the way he treats women and treats these situations and goes from one to the next. Just because he said he's 52, he doesn't have a lot of time. I don't know. I feel like he's trying to rush to the altar, which I think is not right. It's because he's going to need help as he ages, and he knows that. Like, he has an agenda. And if you do have an agenda, just be straight up front with these ladies and not just be like you're in love with them and it's kind of like you're just searching for someone to be with, to help him at the end of the day. And he needs someone to feed his libido and all this. I'm like, what can you offer though, Brian? Because you're not offering anything that morals and values and things that a woman would want in a man. He's just not offering that, man. I don't know, I'm not happy with it. I've been in scenarios with people that have had disabilities, and I feel like sometimes it can be used as a manipulative tactic and not just them being themselves. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. And that's why I feel like this guy is slimy at the end of the day. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm a little bit too personally affected by it. But that's my take on Brian. What's yours, guys? Let me know in the comments. Email me, cbiztv@yahoo.com. Now we get to Joey and Magda. And Sean stirs the pot a little bit more. As you know, she asks about the friends, and Then she says, well, Joey, we asked your friends to come on and be a part of the show. At least one of them, few of them acted as if they were interested, but why didn't any of them show up? Is there anything that you should be worried about, or anything that Magda needs to know? So he took like the super longest pause ever, right? And they say, well, Sean's like, here's some never before seen footage of a party at Joey's, and his friends have some things to say. So it's a male friend and a female friend, and she's basically saying that Joey likes to sleep around. And that clip previously, they showed that he was talking to one of the friends, they were dating, and then the other young lady was like, well, we hooked up as well. And so he basically likes to sleep around. So I don't know if Magda didn't want to believe what she was seeing or hearing. So Sean asked again, did you sleep with that particular young lady that said you guys hooked up? And he said, well, we kissed, and it was like before her, and it's been so many years and so long ago. And Vanya clears it up and says, but you said you kissed her, but hookup doesn't mean kiss, it means intimacy, right? Well, some people say hookups aren't really intimate, but you guys know what I mean, right? So all the cast are kind of pushing him, like, come on, be honest, just tell her the truth. He's being like super quiet and silent. He said, well, I didn't tell her about these certain scenarios, I didn't feel it was relevant. And Lauren's like, hey, this is what I did. I made a list for Faith so I could be 100% clear with her, everybody I slept with, dates and times and all that stuff. And they kind of laugh it off. And Brian's like, well, his memory's probably not that clear. He's probably like, I can't say I have that good of a memory. Should people make a full detailed list? I say you wouldn't have to unless you are Joey, because if he's sleeping with more than one of his female friends, I think that's a pattern. And I would have cause to be like concerned that anyone he befriends could be his next hookup. And because it's a hookup, he doesn't see it as significant, because he said, we didn't date, we just so-called kissed. But at the end of the day, after this long pause and after the whole cast was trying to say just fess up to the truth, they're laughing about it, and he's looking dead serious, which means he's got some things he's hiding. And Sean's like, is there anything you want to ask Joey, Magda? She's like, no. And I think she just doesn't want to know the truth. At the end of the day, she just doesn't want to know. So he basically slept with two of his female friends. Brian kind of takes up for him, says, you shouldn't let this get in the way, Magda. You guys are in love. Just put the BS aside and try to be together and make this thing work. And so they end the tell-all that way with that information. And he says, okay, honey, I can't wait to see you at the hotel or whatever. I think he gets on a phone chat with her. And it's like, I can't wait to see you at the hotel, and I'll see you soon, I love you, and all this, right? I guess he's gonna try to explain it away and try to soften everything up, but it's kind of too late. And even Magda, when she's still on camera, she's like, basically he's sleeping with the whole US, and it's probably true. Stephanie gave us an idea as well, saying he likes to sleep around. I can't see how you're gonna be friends with people you slept with, because it almost seems like, I hear some people still sleep with their exes if they get the urge, so if all your friends are your exes, if you ever are lonely, you get the urge, you just call any one of them up and things can happen. Once you open that door, a lot of people feel like the door stays cracked and they can always kind of re-enter if they want. They're not sure how the women feel on that side, but some people feel that way. And I'm sure that's a concern for Magda. So like Brian and Lauren kind of talk to the side about Joey being 34. He's like, I know he's like, he's still a kid. Lauren says that, and Brian's like, well, he's not a kid, he's a grown man, he's 34. And Lauren's like, yeah, I'm 34 too, but he just has a childish mentality. He's really hurting people. He wasn't able to clearly tell her what's going on. He basically lied. He's really hurting people. Like, well, maybe you really hurt people too when you had gonorrhea when you went up there to see your person for the first time. So it's kind of funny how Lauren now is on his high horse or standing on his soapbox or whatnot. And, he's not much better. He seems like he keeps going back to the same person who gave him gonorrhea, which makes him kind of a fool. But to me, you're not really much better to be talking about Joey in that way. He's basically said he's not ready to get married. He needs to admit that. And maybe Lauren has a point with that, but for him to act like he's basically even a little bit better than Joey, he doesn't have the right to do so. So Vanya, she likes to get in everyone's business because she needs to probably start trying to get more of her own business, because now she's like, I guess, following Joey out the door because he's rushing out. And I don't know, I guess he doesn't want to be confronted by anyone. And he's supposedly trying to rush back to his bae. And in the meantime, I think she was asking, Magda's back at the hotel asking, hey, it's weird that she wasn't there, because if she's in the same country, I don't know what he's talking about. He can't wait to get back to the hotel to see her. That was weird to me. Is she in the same country? Why didn't she come physically on with him? So I'm a little bit confused there. And Magda's like, hey, unless he wasn't talking to Magda, I feel like he had to be talking to her, right? It's weird. I don't know. Maybe that could be clarified. But anyway, they're like, is there a 24/7 store? That's what Magda said, because she needs some vodka or whatever. Like, she needs a drink, I guess, after all of that. So I don't really know where Magda is, because he acts like he's going to see her. Well, yeah, so why was she on camera and not there? So that's a good question. Sonny and Vea have a quick little word, and they're like, hey, Vea's like, she doesn't know where we stand because I don't know why Sonny thinks I'm going to convert when I'm not. And Sonny's like, well, I'm happy about our relationship because we're going to get married and everything's going to be great. So these two aren't on the same page, obviously. Now says, I'm 28 and I see I have a lot to learn. And before he goes, he squishes the screen for Matilda's like, well, Matt, we gotta go. I can't wait to see you in person and squishy you. So he's squishing her cheeks in an imaginary way in front of the screen. But Niles basically says he's 28, he has a lot to learn, and he says some wise words. And I wish everybody else said they had a lot to learn, but they pretty much think they know everything. And I think he's probably the youngest person that physically was there. And he also has autism, and he's talking a lot more sense than probably the rest of this cast. And then we talked to Lauren again, as well as Faith. I guess she's still on the screen. And he's like, well, Lauren's like, well, she still kind of left it open. It's like it's ended, but maybe it's not. And, Faith says something too. I can't remember what she said, but like, why are you guys still trying to keep this door open just to be on the show or something? Could you guys just please shut this door and lock it? Because that was like a horrendous thing. And even though Faith's like, well, that was my first love, and that was really a great experience when you love someone for the first time and all of that. Like, really, how great was it? We all saw the disaster that your relationship was. So, I don't know what these people are doing on here, but there's more to come on TLC. And there's some more things that possibly we're going to be chatting about as we get into that Valentine's Day season. There's another 90 Day, the original, coming up on the 16th of February. I'm thinking about doing something with Love is Blind, and I heard that the new one is actually on Valentine's Day. Then, as we were watching the tell all, there's going to be a special, the Baldwin. So, we're going to see Alec Baldwin's life with his wife, who's younger than him. They have multiple kids. I think they said 7. They even cover the whole issue with that. I think it's called Rust. I can't remember fully the name of that movie, where the the incident happened with the on set, where he was charged, and then they went back and forth with those charges. Very devastating incident. They're going to cover that as well. So I think I may step into that and watch a little bit of that as well. I'm not sure how much I will cover, but there's some interesting things coming up when it comes to love, faith, and trends right here on CBiz Media, right there on TLC, and some of these other platforms as well. So we're gonna be checking it out. We're gonna pick and choose and see what we're gonna get into. And of course, we're gonna continue with Married at First Sight. It's been fun with that one as well. So we're gonna keep going. Any thoughts, comments, questions? What do you think? What else should we talk about when it comes to faith, love, and trends? And let's get into it. And I'll be talking to you guys next time as we close this session and actually close the end of this season for before the 90 days. It's all over. The tell-alls are all over, and we're gonna be getting into something new. So, talk to you guys again next time. This is Irene. All the best, and God bless.